as the PPC leader, if you got a private member bill, what would you propose?
That's a really good question.
I did write it.
Yeah, 1 minute, time is precious. A private member bill, what would I propose? I think for me, having a little girl who's 8 years old, the reason I stand here is to make sure that she has the same Canada that I grew up in. And that was a free Canada where children could be children. They weren't used as political pawns, where we were free to speak and to debate our ideas, even around the kitchen table. I grew up in Newfoundland, there was a lot of that. Loudest person won. So for me, I think I would honestly have to think on which bill it would be that I would bring forward. Because there's so many things in Canada today that have slid so far to the left. And we just need, I think, some gentle reminders to pull things back a little bit to the right, to kind of bring things back to some core values. So forgive me for not answering, because I don't want to, again, I don't want to make a promise I can't commit to.
Thank you. Candidates, and I believe we'll start with Mrs. Wilson. The equalization formula. Is the current formula okay? What would your party do to fix it? So this person does not think it's okay.
You know, that's interesting. That is an issue of critical thinking. We don't actually, and I'm sorry if this is upsetting, but I gotta go with the facts here. We don't actually in Alberta send money to Quebec. We really don't. I don't know who's told you that. The person who asked the question, it doesn't work that way. It's really boring economic stuff. But what happens is everybody in Canada pays federal taxes, and then some money goes to different provinces, have-not provinces, so that equalization can happen. And that's equalization of important programs like healthcare, because it's really not fair to have awesome healthcare in Alberta and less than awesome healthcare in Quebec. We're all Canadians, we all should have the benefit. That's how it works, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Richards, equalization.
Well, there's clearly something wrong with the system, where when you've got a province, ours, Alberta, where people are struggling, and we're hurting, and people are out of work, businesses are going under and suffering, and we're still paying in for that system. So there's obviously something that needs to change there. And one of the things that I've done in the last 4 years as your representative is to bring forward a petition on that very issue. And I brought that around to your homes and had signatures from thousands of you all across the constituency, and I presented that in Parliament and spoke about this in Parliament to make it clear that there's a need for something to be different and change so that Alberta is treated fairly. And as your representative, and in the future, if I'm re-elected, I will always continue to do what I've done, which is stand up for our province, stand up for our people, stand up for our jobs, and stand up for our Alberta oil and gas.
Thank you.
So I didn't get to answer the veteran question, so I'm going to say something very quickly. I believe very strongly in increased mental health supports, and I think that's a big way that we can support our veteran. And on equalization, the Green government would establish an arm's-length federal tax commission to analyze the system for fairness based on the principle of progressive taxation. So when applying to that to equalization, I think we can change the system. But I still think that Alberta, with the biggest economy, can help the smaller provinces that are struggling.
Thank you.
Equalization formula is broken, and it's wrong. The principle behind it is actually not bad. I totally agree. All Canadians deserve an equal standard, but it was never meant to be a welfare program either. It inhibits a lot of the the less fortunate, or what is it called, have-not provinces from actually developing their own resources. So the equalization formula, just one quick example, Quebec doesn't have to account for its hydroelectricity at market rates, but Alberta has to include all of its gas and oil revenues at market rates. So we have Quebec here and Alberta here. And well, how is that fair? What we're proposing is not to abolish equalization. We want to help our fellow have-not provinces. What we are proposing is a fair equalization that acknowledges everybody's contributions, including Alberta's.
Musician can't count to 4, and so I missed a beat, and I missed Mr. Mullins on the veteran question. So I would like to give him his 1 minute, and extend my apologies for missing you there.
Okay, so I mentioned this before, but guaranteed livable income is a big part of the Green Party's platform, and I think that is a big way that we can help veterans and lots of minority groups and people that are suffering in Canada that get left behind. If everyone has a guaranteed livable income, depending on what that level of income means for a community, you can survive. And you can work in ways that, you know, it would help disabled people and people with PTSD and people suffering with mental health and veterans. Like, a guaranteed livable income will help everyone get back to work in a way that works for them. And I did mention mental health as well. A big thing for me is getting increased mental health supports in our health system. And I think that will very much help our veterans on the path to success.
Thank you. We're on Mr. Richards for the next all candidates question. Do you support a heavy rail mass transit system? And if so, how will you assist Cochrane to see it built in our lifetime? We'll start with Mr. Richards and continue.
Well, this is something I know has been talked about quite a bit throughout the region. I think that we always need to be looking at the solutions that we can find for transportation. We see it every day. I mean, anyone who drives in back and forth to the Calgary every day sees the challenges that are faced. And so I think these are the kinds of solutions that we need to be looking at. I'm committed, what I can do is commit to working, you know, with the local, I see some of the local councillors were here tonight, the mayor is here. Committed to working with them, provincial colleagues, and looking at what some of those solutions are. This is definitely one of those potential solutions. And I'm happy to work with them and try to make sure that we move forward with the solutions that will be best for the community. And certainly this is one of the ones that we should be looking at. Thank you.
Thank you.
So a personal anecdote on this issue is, as the Green Party candidate for Banff-Airdrie, it's very difficult to get around this riding without a car. There's no reliable public transportation to get from, say, Canmore to Cochrane, or Cochrane to Airdrie, or anywhere in between. I rely heavily on my volunteers to get around, as I don't actually own a car, and it's been very difficult for me to get from the west to the east in the riding and speak to as many voters as I can. So I think the federal government needs to invest significantly in public transit, and a rail system specifically, I think, would benefit this area a lot. But there is one thing important to consider, is that a rail system going from, say, Canmore to Cochrane will be going through sovereign land, and we need to address that issue. We can't implement those kind of things without proper consultation with Indigenous groups.
Thank you.
So I think every decision that we need to make needs to come from, again, a place of logic and data. So I think we need to take a strong look at the cost-benefit analysis of every decision that we make, not just this issue. And I think it is an issue that needs to be done in consult with the players that are involved. So I think with limited resources and not unlimited budgets, we need to take a hard look at where we want to place our priorities. And I think that has to come from municipalities, from the province, as well as from the federal government. So as it relates to transit, if that's the priority, then that's what we should be looking at, solutions. And again, coming from a human factors and modeling and simulation, as well as a finance background, I think there's skills that I can certainly bring to bear there, and perhaps even a different perspective as to how to look at things differently.
Thank you.
I really love trainings, and I do remember every so often, it was the 90s before Via Rail just did not have any local schedule. I remember taking the train when I didn't have a car from Banff to downtown Calgary, and it was wonderful. I remember crossing Canada many times, also wonderful and very affordable. The problem, and I've seen lots of studies, because people do feel very romantic about the train, is that there's just not quite enough ridership. Not even in a corridor, say, Calgary to Edmonton with a stop at Red Deer. And I realized the question was about Cochrane, but I think it would be dependent on some pretty good studies that would show ridership.
Thank you. All right, another all candidates question. We'll start with Mr. Mullins. Seniors often can't afford medication and end up going to the hospital. Would you support Medicare for those who are the most fragile?
This is a very easy answer, yes. The Green Party of Canada believes that we need universal pharmacare by next year. And we will absolutely support that if we get a government, and we will speak for it strongly in the House after October 21st.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring that one back to affordability, and what we can afford and what we cannot afford. And I think we're at a crux in our circumstances where if we don't soon start balancing our budgets, we're not going to afford the social programs that we have, let alone trying to introduce new social programs. So I think what we need to do is take a look at how we can make life more affordable so people can accept more responsibility because they have more money in their pockets. So you guys are the ones who get to decide how and where that is spent, not the government. Health is also a jurisdiction that belongs to the provinces. And one of the things that we have proposed to do is not to be the dictator of how to spend that money, but to allow them to best address where it needs to be spent.
Thank you.
I think this question is about pharmacare. In our platform, we're for universal pharmacare. And that would, of course, include seniors. It would also include those who right now can't afford medication and who maybe even have a plan such as Blue Cross. But we would insist on it to be universal. And that's because of the immense buying power that all Canadians would have. We could have much better deals on prices for medication, and it would just be the most prudent and fiscally appropriate way to add to our healthcare program that we already know and love and rely on.
Thank you.